Welcome to this Arduino tutorial. Today, we're going to build a simple mini piano using an Arduino board. This program lets you play musical notes by pressing buttons connected to your Arduino. Each button corresponds to a different piano note, from C4 to C5. We have 8 buttons connected to pins 4 through 12, and a speaker connected to pin 8. The buttons use internal pull-up resistors to keep the input stable. In the setup function, we configure each button pin as input with pull-up enabled, and set the speaker pin as output. Then, in the main loop, the program checks each button's state. If a button is pressed, it plays the corresponding tone on the speaker. If no buttons are pressed, the speaker is silent. The tones are defined using constants like note_C4, note_D4, etc., which represent the frequencies of musical notes. The tone function generates a square wave on the speaker pin to create sound, while noTone stops it. You can press any of the buttons to hear different notes and play simple tunes. So first, we include the header file pitches.h. This file contains predefined constants for musical notes, like note_C4, note_D4, and so on, which represent specific frequencies used to produce musical tones. Next, we define the pin connected to the speaker. This pin will output the sound signals generated by the Arduino. We then create 2 arrays. Button pins, this stores the Arduino digital pins connected to each of the 8 buttons. Button tones, this stores the musical notes, frequencies, that correspond to each button. The number of tones is calculated automatically using the size of the button pins array. Setup function. In the setup function, we prepare the pins for input and output. For each button pin, we use input_pull-up mode. This activates an internal pull-up resistor, which means the pin normally reads high when the button is not pressed, and reads low when the button is pressed and connects the pin to ground. The speaker pin is set as an output, so Arduino can send sound signals to it. Main loop. The loop function runs continuously. It checks the state of each button to see if it's pressed. We initialize a variable pitch to 0, meaning no tone by default. Then, we loop through all button pins. If a button is pressed, reads low, we set pitch to the corresponding note frequency. Aft. Pitch is not 0, we call tone, to generate a sound at the frequency of the selected note on the speaker pin. If no button is pressed, we stop any sound with no tone. How to use this? Connect 8 buttons to pins 4 through 12, each with one side to the Arduino pin and the other to ground. Connect a speaker or buzzer to pin 8 and ground. When you press a button, the Arduino plays the corresponding note, creating a simple piano keyboard. Summary. This simple project combines input reading with output sound generation to create an interactive piano. It's a great example of how Arduino can handle multiple inputs and produce immediate feedback with sound. You can expand this by adding more buttons, changing notes, or programming melodies. Thanks for watching.